Hey everybody, it's Ozone. Welcome back to my little corner of the world here in Vintage Story. It has been a good amount of time since the last video. It's now September 4th, and fall is coming in earnest. As usual, I've been really busy in between episodes. I was able to trap myself a couple rabbits. We've got a male over here in the pen and a female over here, but I really can't tell whether they're pregnant or not. That is something that's different about rabbits. With all of the other animals, when you hover over the tooltip, it tells you how many portions they've eaten and whether they're pregnant, but not rabbits. So, I don't know. I threw some food on the ground. I don't really know whether that's good enough. I think I'll just have to put some food here in the trough and try again. But at least there is some rabbits, and it could be a source of leather and fat. I think rabbits can have some fat. Anyway, oh, what in the world? Over here, the pigs are ready to mate. Well, that one's pregnant, and that one's ready to mate, and that one's ready to mate. Looks like I need a little bit more food, but how in the world did you guys get together? You guys were in separate pens. Yeah, you're not here anymore, and so somehow you got out of this pen. I don't really know how that's happening. As for the goat, she's still pregnant. It takes a long time for these goats to have their babies. But what else are we going to do? We just keep on waiting. But as we look out over the nearby forest and farm, I'm really happy with where I am in this overall progress. I think I'm moving a little slower than most people would, but at the same time, I'm really enjoying the process. Now, one of the things I did do is go out and do a lot of resource gathering and exploring in between episodes. Way down here in the south, I had identified something that looked like a graveyard, and I went and cleared it out, and boy did I get a lot of bony soil from that. Look at that, a full stack and an extra 2 bony soil. And if you don't know, bony soil can be found near ruins and represents things left behind by the previous inhabitants of the earth. And you can pan this bony soil just like gravel and get basically really good stuff. Where with gravel and sand, you get some metals and maybe some gemstones, maybe some arrowheads or something that's already been crafted up. But with bony soil, you can get lore books, candles, gold, and even more valuable gems. So the bony soil can have a really good amount of treasure that would otherwise be difficult to get. So I think as winter comes around, I'll be panning that up, or maybe just in between episodes, I don't know. But I'm going to be keeping it separate so that I can show you guys what I get from all of that bony soil. Now, I also went way up north here to do some exploration and some resource gathering. I did go back to the tin mine. This is where I originally found tin and crafted up some more, and I made some more tin ingots as well. But one of the big things is this land to the north of me. This is very cavernous. Chasm-is, I guess. But look what I did. I've got these tunnels that just poke right through these spires of rock. And now I can move basically very far, very quickly through this terrain that would otherwise be difficult. Oh, there's a rift. Of course. We'll just go right on by that. But anyway, yeah, I could go really far in these tunnels. And because I've made them with half slabs as path blocks, that should be completely spawn-proof, even though these tunnels are not lit up. But yeah, I could go really far and do some resource gathering or hunting or something up in these far northlands. Look at how far north I am from the house, and get back very quickly. So I think this is, again, something I'm going to be continuing to do. Just make these little highways that make traveling really easy. They're ugly, yeah, but they're really functional. I was so excited by my progress on the northern tunnel that I started one here off to the west as well. Unfortunately, these mountains are more gentle, and so it just is one giant dark tunnel, but I've gone pretty far. I haven't made it all the way, of course, and I think this might be a project that I'll work on for the wintertime as well. Kind of save it for later because, yeah, I mean, this seems like a pretty good winter project to me. Now, in the last episode, I got the pulverizer set up and this gearing system, which I'm pretty happy about. But I have not really taken advantage of it that much. I have a little bit, but I think I want to set up some hoppers and chutes to try to make this pulverizer a lot more automated and better. I've also been learning how to make steel. I will say this process is extremely complicated. When I started getting into it, I saw that it was going to be really, really complicated, and while I do normally kind of like to figure it out on my own, I could tell that this was going to be a bit more than I could probably figure out on my own. I'm sure the guides are good, but they just don't compare to watching another's video on it. And so, full disclosure, this is something that I've done quite a bit of research on, and I feel like I know pretty well what we need to do. But that is going to be the goal for this episode. Yeah, I want to get to the point where we can make steel, or at least make some really, really good progress toward it anyway. And to that end, I have been crushing up some quartz and bauxite. Now remember, at the end of the last episode, we realized that you need crushed bauxite and crushed quartz in order to make the furnace bricks that you need in order to make steel. And I was a little bit dismayed to find that I'd already collected a lot of bauxite and used it on my roof. As I think some of you were probably yelling at me in the comments or during the episode saying, no, don't do that, it's a big waste. I mean, I like the color, I like the way it looks on the house, but yeah, I definitely could have bothered to save more so that I could get into the steel making properly. And so I've been up here feeding the pulverizer with some of the leftover rock that I had, but it's a very, very slow manual process. And I think I want to get some hoppers and stuff set up for this to make it a lot easier. What I'm not so happy about, though, is the kern. Look at how slow this is going. And I was really, really unhappy with the progress that I was making while trying to use the kern here to grind stuff up. But I realized that I just made a really big mistake by hooking it up directly to this main shaft. And that's the reason that it's going so slow. You see, way up here, the windmill is going a whole lot faster, but it's being down geared. This small gear is turning a big gear, which is making this big gear turn very, very slowly. Now, when we're coming over to the helve hammer or the pulverizer, we're re-gearing it back up by using a small gear to attach it. But I didn't do that for the pulverizer. It's this main shaft that continues to go straight down into this lower room. And so that's why this is turning really, really slow. This small gear to big gear ratio is probably like a 10 to 1 or a 20 to 1 difference. So yeah, it takes like 20 rotations of the windmill in order to move the kern, one rotation or something like that. And if I had connected it to the outside of the big wheel with an angled gear, then that wouldn't be happening. That's something that I just didn't realize when I was putting this together. And it could be very easily overlooked by you too as well, so I thought I'd point it out. Now, another thing I've been doing in between episodes is making up lots of stuff. I've got lots of copper ingots so that we can get into those chutes, but I've also got 2 10 bronze plates that I've made up because I want another mining bag. If I'm going to go on a big mining expedition and need to bring back lots of mining type resources, I think another mining bag would be a good thing to make. So let's do that and then get straight back over into collecting some more bauxite and limestone. So if I recall, we've got twine on top, a linen patch here, and another mining bag. So we can swap this backpack out for this mining bag, and oh yeah, look at all of that space for lovely rocks and quartz and things like that from this resource trip that I want to take right now. Oh, well, it looks like I spent too long talking to you guys. We'll head out first thing in the morning. I guess I can also show you that my flax over here is essentially done. I think it is all done finally. And yeah, this field is going to yield so much flax. For now, I think that's a good project. Let's get this all cleared out. Get all this flax picked up. Well, except for I don't have the backpack space for it. Now that I've actually got my mining bag on me. Oopsie. Yeah, look at that. I got several stacks of flax twine, and now I've got a stack and a half of flax seeds. Oh, we can have so much flax. Well, since it's a lovely blustery night and I don't want to be outside, let's work on making some chute sections. You need a couple of these in order to be able to make chutes, and interestingly, chutes can only be made out of copper. You can't make chutes out of anything else, which is understandable, maybe, but also, I guess, a little frustrating. So, using two of these chute sections, I can make an elbow, or an angle, which will redirect stuff from flowing from one direction to the other. And the bottom line is, for the pulverizer, that's particularly useful, because otherwise you have to hand feed it, much like the corn. There we go. These chute sections are a little bit hard to work, though, because you've got this big area in the middle that has to be removed, and I don't know that there's really an effective way to utilize the voxels in that space. So we'll take our two chute sections, and if we place them on either side like this, I think that gives us... Nope. Like that. Okay, so we place them like that, and we get the chute elbow. And as you can see, we've got several different chutes. We got the straight chute. We have the cross chute, which this sounds like that would be really interesting to try to use. I don't really know how you would use that. A three-way chute. And these Archimedes screws, which is how you move material up. A chute will only move material down. But regardless, I want this elbow chute. If we pair it with a... what is this? A hopper. I've been calling this a chute. So I need hoppers, which is 3 copper plates. 6 copper ingots in total, so kind of expensive, but it should be a really nice, useful thing here. And now, full disclosure once again, this isn't my idea. I didn't really even know that much about the hoppers and chutes, but I saw Radamont do it. Now, he's the guy that I've been watching the playthrough, and who I kind of got my initial start of vintage story knowledge from. I really like his playstyle. And if you haven't yet, well, check him out. You might enjoy it too. But anyway, I saw him doing this, and I thought it was a really good idea. I thought it was something that I needed to do in my world as well. And the main reason for that is when this thing gets done, it just kicks it out onto the ground. Not only does it just kick it out on the ground, but you have to manually feed it in. So if I hook this thing up, we can see what I'm talking about. I've got some quartz here, and so we've got to click the quartz in, and I think we showed this at the end of the last episode. The quartz is there being pulverized, and when it gets done, it just drops it out onto the floor here. Like that. Which isn't very good for having something run while I'm not standing here. You know, I want to be able to let this run while I'm down tending the farms or something like that. So the hopper and chute is going to really make a lot of difference. So we'll put the hopper there and the chute there. So now when I put the quartz chunks in the hoppers and chutes feed them in automatically, and we'll keep feeding the next set in once the current set is done. So yay! But we still have the problem of it being stuck out here onto the floor. And that's where this hopper comes in. A hopper basically has a small inventory. And you see that it went into the hopper. It looks like it actually fell down all the way into the room below. It did. But I can put a chest right underneath that hopper and be able to catch all of this stuff. So now the pulverizer can run in a pretty well automated fashion. Or at least, that's the plan anyway. Maybe if I just put this block up stone up there? Yeah, I think that'll probably work. Let me check this out. Although I don't really like how it's like sitting just on the edge of it. It looks like that might despawn. Well, that's not good. Yeah. So, I mean, it is able to take 4 stacks in the hopper, and it just kind of keeps it there because there's nowhere for it to fall to. But that guy right on the corner, I don't really like that at all. It seems like it's going okay for right now, but I also wonder if I put a block right there. I think that would help funnel things in, and it kind of seems like it is. It seems like it's working. I might also want to put a block right here, which I guess I do have some dirt. That's better than nothing. That should keep everything funneled right on into the hopper and make it not despawn. Yeah, well that's a nice improvement right there, definitely. Now again, why are we doing all this? This is for the refractory bricks. We need 4 stacks of crushed borax and crushed quartz to make enough refractory bricks to make a special building called a sedimentary chamber or cementary chamber, something like that. A cementation furnace, that's what it's called. Okay, and a cementation furnace is a special multi-block building that has a lot of components to it, most of which aren't that big of a deal. But the number of bricks that it takes is more than I currently have right now. So I need to go back and get some bauxite, which, if you recall, I think it was right in here where I found all the bauxite. I mean, there's bauxite all over this lake. Anywhere where there's this orange sand, we're going to find bauxite. But in one of these areas, I think it was right in here, I also found limestone. And we also need limestone in order to make the mortar that it's going to take to put those bricks together. So I'm going to head back over to here where I can get a lot of these types of materials. And even though it's a rainy, dreary day, it is day. So I think it's time to hit the road. I am glad that rain just doesn't really seem to cause us a problem. I bet it makes my chainmail awfully smelly though, you know? Oh, hey, we're here. This is something else that I'm wanting to do. See the way this is indented? There are meteor impact sites throughout the world, and having an oval kind of depression like this is a really good indication that this might be a meteor impact, and if it is, well, there could be some meteoric steel here. Or meteoric iron, which I can use to make meteoric steel. But no, this is just regular andesite rock, so it doesn't seem like this is a meteor impact crater after all. Wow, I've driven past this thing. I've walked past this thing, oh gosh, many times, and I've thought that it was meteor, and I wanted to do it while it was on camera with you guys, but sadly, it's not meteor. So I guess I will continue to be looking for these things as I'm out exploring the world. I mean, could this be? Boy, that would be a really big impact crater. I think that's probably not. No. But you know what? It's worth a chance. It's worth it to check. All right, let's get over to the lake and over to that spot that I was talking about. Well, if I can remember where I parked the boat... I don't remember where I left the boat. Okay, well, that's task number 1. What the heck? Is there a rift underwater? Is that a thing? Yeah. Yeah, that's a thing. Wow. Okay. Ah, there's my boat. Like I've said, the boat isn't the best way to travel. I think there are better. Well, I don't know that there are better. I wish there were better. And I understand that the devs have mentioned that they might want to make some nice boats, some nice multi-block boats, but it's not there yet. It's a little better than swimming, but not much, honestly. Right, so this isn't exactly where I was, but it's close enough. You can see we've got the white rocks over there of some limestone poking through, as well as the orange rocks here of bauxite. And these are the things that we need in order to make the cementation furnace. Shale is another one of those rocks that I think would be really good to build with. It's got a really nice dark color, and I remember seeing it as I was exploring last time. I don't see any right around now, but maybe it's underground. But yeah, some shale would be nice to have too. Oh, and looky here, we got some more lead. I will absolutely take that. I wasn't planning on getting resources like lead, but you know what? It's in the limestone, and I need the limestone, so let's go. Now, you don't actually need that much of the limestone. In fact, you could get everything that you need from the shells on the shore if that's all you had. But I might as well get a bunch while I'm here, you know? I think this white rock could actually be really interesting for building as well. I've not been terribly focused on building something pretty, but I think it might make for some pretty, even if it's just cobblestone. Ah, look, we got some quartz as well as more lead. You know what? We definitely need a lot of quartz. I feel like I've got a good source for it, but I'm here. I guess let's go ahead and collect it all. This is a resource mining trip, after all. We do also need a good amount of sand. I don't really need this particular sand, but you know what? I'm here, and again, I'm after resources, so let's get it. Ah, my home sweet home. A sight for sore eyes. We are back, though, from an excellent resource gathering mission trip. Okay, I am a lot more happy about all that bauxite. I got some more quartz, which is definitely useful, as well as some lead ore. Very useful as well. Nice. Oh, and a lump of fat. That's been kind of hard to come by. The pulverizer, though, has been working like a charm. We have our crushed quartz in here. Definitely much, much nicer. Let's just put in 4 stacks of bauxite and let it go to town. It's just, yummy, yummy, yummy. Chewing it up and spitting it out until the wind goes away. Oh well, it'll get it done. Very nice. And it certainly looks like the blocks on either side are really helping to funnel everything into the hopper correctly. Helping to funnel everything into the funnel correctly. Yeah, that makes sense too. The limestone, on the other hand, goes into the quarn, it seems. I still got the problem with the quarn going super slow, and I think I want to fix that next. So instead of coming directly off the center shaft, I need to come off one of the sides here and give it an angled gear to make it move. Now the problem is I need another angled gear in order to angle it and bring it straight down here. But with that in place, we should be able to just do that and go down and hook up the quarn directly underneath it. Alright, well I was actually able to make up a few angled gears, so maybe I can actually make a clutch and transmission, but oh man, yeah, look at that. That is going so much faster. Oh yeah, I forgot. I was trying to save up for another windmill, and I just used all my fat. I could have had so much more power if I had remembered that I was trying to make another windmill. Oh well. We should be able to get another windmill up here pretty soon, I imagine. Man, beautiful morning. Love the graphics in this game. And, well, just like that, we have 4 stacks of crushed bauxite done. That was so much easier with all the chutes and hoppers. Ah, so much easier. Alright, so if I look at all my quartz together, I do not have enough. I need to go mine some more quartz apparently too. Now this was my copper mine, and I'm sure there's still lots of copper left in this area, but the copper that I found was next to a very, very large quartz vein right here, and I've even come back to just mine out some andesite. Now I guess this is the quartz mine, but let's go. Let's get more. So now that we got all the other stuff together, now it's time to actually make those bricks, and that requires a lot of fire clay. Fortunately, I've been pretty good about collecting it, and I went out and collected a little bit more. So that should be enough. So when it comes to refractory bricks, there are actually 3 different tiers of them, and I've only got the materials to make tier 1. Tier 1 is fire clay, crushed quartz, and bauxite. Tier 2 adds crushed olivine, which I've never found any olivine, and I don't even know where to find it. And tier 3 adds ilmenite or titanium. And the difference between them is how resilient they are. With tier 1s, 10% of them are going to crack as part of the firing process. Tier 2, 5%, and tier 3, 1%. So this isn't the only time we get to make refractory bricks. It's going to be an ongoing process. Every time we make steel, 10% of them are going to crack and need to be replaced. But all in all, the quartz and the bauxite and the fire clay, not that hard to find. Like I said, I've never found olivine, and titanium is very hard to find. It's down near the bottom of the world, and it requires steel pounder caps in order to even crush it up. So basically, to start out with, tier 1 is the only way to go. But like I said, the recipe is fairly easy, so there we go. A full stack of them, but we need 4. So I've got a lot more crafting to do. And of course, these are unfired. So once this is done, well, I'm going to have to fire them all up in pit kilns before we can even do anything else. And fortunately, in between clip time, I have made a whole bunch of fire pits out here to complement the 3 that I already had made up. This is all packed dirt, so it should not burn and spread. So let's get our 12 refractory bricks into each one of these. And it's going to take a lot. Wow, I did not expect to actually fill all of these up, but I did. And this will do everything that we need, plus a little bit extra right here. I think I'll have 8 extra. I'm sure we'll use them in the end. Wow, that is a lot of pit kilns. Now we need a lot of grass and sticks to get them all fired up. Fortunately, I've been able to get prepared with that, too. So this should be no problem. And we'll come back once it's all done. And by the way, this area that I leveled out, yeah, this is where I think I want to put the refractory. I'm kind of running out of flat spaces around the house. It's not a terribly flat area. So I flattened this out, and this is the best I got right now. If there's one thing that I am really good at in games like this, It's hoarding resources. I am so glad that I hoarded all those sticks. I know there's a lot of players out there that maybe wouldn't have done that, but you know what? That's just me. I'm a hoarder. Now comes the really fun part, and this is where I've got to be careful so that I don't take damage. But this is going to be pretty amazing. Let's get it done. Wow, that is a sight to see, I say. I pity the poor drifter that tries to come through here at night. No, not really. I don't pity the drifters at all. Although, I do hope that I'm not catching my... I am. I'm burning things down again. Oopsie. Darn it. I thought I had things spaced out enough so that this wouldn't be a problem. But apparently not. Alright. Well, I think we're okay for now. I just hope I don't burn anything else down in the house. Except I kind of forgot to cover them all. Let's hope it doesn't rain. Well, now that that's baking and it's going to take some time, we can focus on the lime, or, well, the mortar. Because we also collected limestone and we need that for the mortar. But first, you got to bake the lime. And honestly, this confused me a lot more than it should have, honestly. The instructions are just not very clear. According to the survival handbook, it says it bakes in an oven into quicklime. Well, that's not really true. The oven only works on dough. Next, I tried putting it into the fire pit, well, within a cooking pot, and that's also not right. No, you just need to put it in the fire pit itself, like it were raw meat or something like that. I haven't done this in a long time, but yeah, you just do that and then give it some fuel, and that will bake the lime into quicklime. And it's interesting to note that this 24 lime turns into 12 quicklime, so you need 2 lime for each quicklime, and this takes quite a long time. It uses about 4 pieces of peat to do each 2 lime into 1 quicklime. So a fairly expensive process, honestly, but the good thing is you don't need all that much of it. Next up, we need to turn the quicklime into slaked lime by putting it into a barrel. And the proportions on this are also a bit unusual. This is 1 liter of water to 4 quicklime equals 4 liters of slaked lime. Now your bucket is 10 liters of water, so you can't just put an entire bucket in here if you don't have enough quicklime. And so for 10 liters of water, we would need 40 quicklime. Well, that's a lot. You don't need that much. But luckily, it gives us this tooltip. We can put a single portion in the container by using the control key. So there we go. And if we look at it now, we have 1 liter of water. Put in 4 quicklime, and now it says we have 4 liters of slaked lime. And at this point, we can add in our sand. And boom, only 4 units of sand turns around and yields 32 mortar. So the end result is you need 4 quicklime in order to get 32 mortar. So like I said, you don't really need that much lime. You get a lot of mortar every time you do this. And the really nice thing about this process with the barrel is it really doesn't take any time, unlike pretty much everything else in this process. So now we get into the last components, and they're relatively easy to make. The handbook says we need an iron door and 2 stone coffin sections and 2 stone coffin lids. Each of those are going to require some of these full granite blocks, which are kind of a pain to gather. But even though I haven't shown it, it's pretty easy to do. You just need to mine all the rock around a particular block, and then that block falls free. And honestly, I've collected quite a bit of them. So with the help of our hammer and chisel, we can get to work. I think the coffin sections are just like this. Again, not too hard. Let's get 2 of them. And the coffin lids are also easy, just requiring a little bit of extra borax. I don't really know why, but oh well, we need 2 of those too. And the last one is the door that needs 6 iron plates, which I have gone ahead and created ahead of time. Very easy, right here. Boom. So once the firing is all done and we work those bricks with the mortar into blocks, we are ready to go for creating the steel cement, whatever it is, the steel furnace thingy. You know what? It's a long process. and I'm still not quite done. It also takes an immense amount of charcoal. I currently have 298. I think that might be enough, but it also needs a whole bunch of iron ingots. Specifically, you need 12 iron ingots, and I don't have enough. So it looks like I need to spend the rest of my time working up some of these iron blooms into iron ingots. Except it sounds like we really don't have any wind. So that's going to take a little bit of time too. All right, look at that. We are all done. I am glad that I went through the process of creating all of these pits. Even though I don't plan to keep them, of course, it was nice to get everything done in one round and not have to do multiple firings. And like I said, I think this is where I'm going to put it, so I need to clean all this up and we'll come back when I'm ready to actually build the thing. Woohoo! We're almost there! The last bit of crafting is for these refractory brick grates and these refractory brick blocks, and both of these are going to use the mortar that we had previously created. You only need a few of the grates. In fact, you only need 6 of them, so let's get those done right now. As for the rest, these are all going to be the refractory bricks. And remember, 10% of these are going to break, so we're going to need quite a bit, even after we get it built. But there we go, full stack and a little extra. So I'm doing really well. We only need 54 total bricks. Yay for having more than we need. And I believe I read that the grates themselves don't break, so that's even better. So now it's time to gather up all the pieces and let's get this thing done. Now, one of the really great things about this process is that it uses an overlay, so you can see precisely where the blocks need to be placed, which really helps. But what it doesn't do so well is it doesn't explain exactly what needs to happen underneath the structure, which is not exactly defined by the structure. Let me start building it, and I'll show you what I mean afterward. So I'm going to start off by putting these grate bricks right here on top of this, and I wanted it to be a little higher up than it needs to be, because we're also going to start off with the stone coffins right here. And once we get the body of the coffin put down, then we can do a shift right click to see the ghost structure of where all the blocks need to go. And it shows it red if the block is not correct. So I'll replace this dirt block with one of these refractory bricks, and it still shows red, but if I shift click the sarcophagus again, now it's no longer red, now it says it's all fine. So we need to basically build this whole thing surrounded by these bricks. Anywhere you see the shadow blocks, we can add those guys in. Easy enough. And at any point you can shift click the sarcophagus in order to get an updated reading. It says we still have 40 blocks to place. So let's get that done. This is all pretty straightforward. You do want to try to make sure that this is not completely blocked in, meaning that you need to be able to get to these blocks so that you can replace them and determine if they've broken in the process. So again, double checking it, I think it says we're only missing 2 blocks, and that is the door right here in front. Now, click it. It's all good. There are no white blocks, there are no red blocks, and the cemetery, I can never say this thing, is basically done. But it's not completely done. And that's because right here where those 2 dirt blocks were, that's where a whole bunch of coal needs to go. And it doesn't tell you this. There's nothing in the outline to tell you that that's where the coal goes. Furthermore, that coal will fall off to the side once it's burning and kind of get wasted. So you also need to add some things in to hold it in place. And so I think I read somewhere that the best way to do that was really to use like bottom half slabs. Except placing a bottom half slab is always a bit of a pain. And so this way I think that we can get in there and place the coal that needs to go into this empty space by targeting the side wall blocks as we're placing coal down. It'll stack up into a giant block, but as it burns down, and we're going to need to add a whole bunch. In fact, we're going to need to come back and add it during the process, because just filling it up once is not enough. And as for this guy, we fill this up with the iron ingots and more charcoal. We have to put these coffin lids on, though, once we're done. And that is the process. It basically bakes iron with a whole bunch of carbon in order to turn it into steel. And this process is a very long process and uses a lot of charcoal. I'm not quite ready to get it started just yet, but we'll come back in the morning once I've had a chance to get things ready and kick it off, because that sounds like a great way to end the episode, don't you think? Well, I lied. You know what? I don't want to wait. We just made this thing. Let's get it filled up. It's nice and safe in here, so let's put this down. Oh, we need to do charcoal first. Okay, and then iron ingots, and then charcoal, and then iron ingots, and then charcoal, and then iron ingots, and then charcoal, and then the lid. Boom, boom. All done. Now, we need to put a bunch of charcoal in here. And that's a little harder to do. Because if I crouch, I can't get to it. Well, I'll worry about what happens later on. Let's just at least get this filled up right now. 16 charcoal. Let me get up here and take a look at this guy. I think we're all ready. Yeah. Like I said, this is going to take a long, long time, but I think this is all we need. Okay. So that's going. And I got to get the other one going. And now at this point, I should be able to check on this and see what it... Okay. Yeah, no, that hurts. That hurts. I'm afraid I've done something wrong, because I remember seeing a percentage... a percentage underneath it, and I'm afraid I've done something wrong. Well, I guess I'll come back in a little while and check it out again. But at least this is done, and the whole thing seems to be going the best I'm aware anyway. Oh no, it's not full. It's 16 iron ingots, not 12. And if it's not completely full, it's not going to work. So I think I've just wasted all that charcoal. I don't know if I can dig it up and save it. No, that just completely ruined it. Oh man. Alright, let me go get some more iron and we'll get this going again, I guess. Okay, let's try this once again. I was able to break off the lid, and I think that we're just going to add, yep, there we go, 4 more ingots and another layer of charcoal. And now... ready to be fired. Ignite the pile of coal beneath each stone coffin half. Well, unfortunately, I lost all my coal in that, but let's put it back. And targeting these top grates works well enough, honestly. Yeah, okay. There we go. Let's try it again. Lit. And lit. Yeah, there we go. Now, let's see. A 0% complete. Okay, it receives heat. Yay! 0% complete. Whew, that was a slog. That's a lot of work to get this stuff done. And a long time later, I'm not terribly certain about how long actually, this will finally be done. Now the result output is a lot like an iron blue in that it's going to have to be reheated and have the slag removed, but when it's done, we'll have those ingots of steel. The best stuff in the game. Honestly, this thing could stand to be prettied up quite a bit. I was kind of in a rush to get this built and try to finish out this episode, but we'll work on that maybe another time. You know me, I'm all function first, form second. I'm an engineer, what do you expect? But yeah, I am really excited to finally start into the steel age. And since it's now October 1st, winter is going to be right around the corner. There's a lot of work to do in the fields to prepare for winter. I got to pick all of the berries, collect as much honey as I can, build some greenhouses. The next episode is going to be really, really busy. So I hope you enjoyed this journey, and you can come back and join me in the next episode. And until then, remember, be excellent to each other. I'm out.